Okay. I would once again like to say that I'm very happy that I'm here. And I would like to thank all the Fastboard, Leandro, Andres, Hernan, that they kind of invited me here and allowed me to have a talk about, now keep your breath, right, about Java, right? And I think it really needs a bit of a courage from the Fastboard to invite somebody who is going to talk about Java in front of, 120 small talkers, which are famous for hating Java almost passionately, right? So, yeah, you got it. I'm already on the dark side. Well, good for you. I'm the only one probably here. So, yeah, you have an advantage. And if you have a rotten eggs in your pocket, I think now it's the time. Not to make the agony any longer for me, please. Well, I assume, and that's an assumption, that doing small talk is fun, right? I hope we all kind of agree. If this assumption does not hold, then the rest of the presentation is basically a waste of time. But I think you agree, right? Now the big question is if Java ever could possibly be a fun tool, right? That's a big question. I think you all now start thinking, no, never ever, right? Of course, yeah, how obvious. Anyway, I started to ask myself, what makes small talking fun? That's the interesting question, right? One may say it's syntax. I don't think so. If the syntax is what makes the language, then we all will probably would stick with Lisp or Scheme, right? So the syntax is not it. The dynamic nature of small talk, probably part of it, but I can tell you there are more dynamic languages than small talk. Even Ruby is, in a sense, more dynamic. I think Martin will agree. So the dynamic nature itself, it's not the thing that makes the small talk what it is. Development environment, well, small talk used to be, the cutting edge, the state of the art of development environments 20 years ago. Now, I dare say we are way behind. There is a lot of things we should do. So the development environment itself is probably not the thing. Well, what's there? This, sort of exploratory programming that you have inspectors, and that we have basically a zero turnaround between, fixing the bug and trying the code, whether it works, that you can fix it in the debugger. When I started with Smalltalk, I remembered that this particular feature, that was it. That was the thing, and I said, okay, there is something good in Smalltalk, because obviously, as probably every single one of you, when you first see, well, the younger one, when you first see the Smalltalk, it was like, oh, what? So, yeah, and we may discuss and we may argue that, it's not only, this zero turnaround stuff. It's a brilliant combination of all of these kind of things. And, yeah, I sort of agree, but still I think the most is this, interactive nature of the whole environment, right? So now the question is, if we make such an environment for Java, will Java be equally funny language to work with or not, right? Well, we may discuss this forever, but I said, okay, let's make an experiment. And the only way how to convey the experiment is to essentially build such an environment, because there is none. So that's what we did. And that's what we call stxlibjava. Some of you may know, some of you may not. Libjava is a virtual machine implementation for Java built into the Smalltalk X environment. Well, let me make one thing clear. There are multiple attempts, different, in a time and in a sort of like a way how it's done, to integrate Java and a Smalltalk. Let me say, well, there is a JNI port, there is a Java Connect, there is another bridge the Accept company uses for customer or used to, and there are probably a couple others. But they are all different. Or let's say STX-libjava is something completely different to that approaches. Because those approaches basically run the JVM side by side, the Smalltalk VM, so there are two distinct VMs running, and then you just communicate over some wire protocol, or you talk over sockets, or any kind of RPC you can imagine. But yeah, it's kind of work. You can do some basic stuff, but it's not the same thing that if you can run those languages in the same language. So that's what makes the STX-libjava very, very different from the rest of the stuff that is already floating around. So the whole system consists of a virtual machine and of the user space classes, and we just sort of hack up a Java interpreter into the VM, and then some runtime support, which is written in Smalltalk, obviously, to support Java classes running. And then we just load the Java classes, partially, the OpenJDK runtime library, like a Smalltalk class. It's in the same heap. It's, from the VM point of view, it's pretty much undistinguishable from the Smalltalk object. Well, last year, I think it was Leandro asking for the just-in-time compiler. Well, I hacked it up. So now we have a just-in-time compiler that compiles Java as well. And yeah, I dare say it's pretty good compared, to the Smalltalk standards. It's, I would say, pretty crappy compared to the Oracle JVM, but probably every single Smalltalk virtual machine is pretty crappy to compare to JVM performance-wise. And I have a feeling that now I generate a slightly better code for Java than for Smalltalk, which is nice, but then it means more work for me because I have to fix the Smalltalk jitter as well. And of course, yeah, it only works for x86. We don't have a Solaris yet. Anyway, so that's what makes it really different, and I really would like that you understand that. That's the kind of critical point to understand before we go a bit further. Well, what are the goals? And now I'm, a little bit continuing in the sense that Tudor started like this this morning. Well, to be very honest, we started this project for fun, but then we have to find some excuses to justify our wasting of time. So the official goals are that this way we can easily reuse Java code. And believe or not, there are a lot of very nice libraries in Java. And there are a lot of libraries that are not that nice, but they are just there and you can use it. I mean, why to reinvent the wheel? If you look, for example, for the XML support, the XML support in Smalltalk, to be very honest, is rubbish compared to the tools that are already available, readily available for Java. So a lot of different protocols, networking stuff. These things are just there. So it's very convenient. It's very convenient if you can just load them and use them. So no time spent on hacking up a Jabber protocol or whatever. That's the first goal, and the second goal is to provide a Smalltalkish environment, so you can work with Java in a Smalltalk way using the same iterative, exploratory programming kind of workflow. I dare say that we are pretty much done with the first bit. So we have the support, the VM runs, we can use the code. We can talk to the code from Java, from Smalltalk, another way around, of course. So we are basically doing the small tweaks, but I think the the tricky bits are already done. But yeah, that's just a small thing. But to make the second one working, that's a really huge portion of the work. And yeah, unfortunately, it's not yet done. But we are getting closer, right? So enough talking. I mean, I can talk forever and show up a few nice slides. But, you can make up screenshots in Photoshop. So, well, I decided to make a live demo in which I am going to show you how to develop a very simple application right here. Well, as with every cutting-edge technology, it may crash, and in that case, you probably have a good laugh. But that's good. I mean, we are here for fun, so no problem with that. Okay, so oh, shit. Okay, so a little bit of introduction. What is this small application is going to be about? Do you know what is a Jabber XMPP protocol? That's the stuff that Gtalk uses to, pass the messages here and there. To my knowledge, there is no XMPP protocol implementation for Smalltalk that is working on a recent Squeak, Faro, STX images. But indeed, there is a Java library which is pretty neat, I would say. It's well designed. It's maintained. You don't have to maintain it. Somebody else does it for you. So I decided to use that library and to hack up a small chat client. So, you have this window with the conversation, and down here there's this small input field, and you can, type a message in there, press enter, it goes to the other guy, he replies, and you see the reply. So that's basically the goal, right? Okay, how to get there? As I said, the library, the SMAC, the XMPP library I'm going to use is very well designed, I would say. Oh, at first glance, but it's kind of nice. But because it supports whole, XMPP protocols and all these extensions, for the very simple thing is, bit more worthy to use. So what I'm going to do is that I will write incrementally a simple Java class that provides a simple facade to that library. And then I will use this simple object, this simple facade, to to communicate to the Smalltalk side. So the UI and the UI logic, this will be all in Smalltalk, and there will be this syn layer, which makes using this library easier for this particular point. Okay, I will try. Does it work? Does it work? Brilliant. Okay, so what should I repeat? You don't know because you haven't heard. Okay, I'm going to hack up a small Java class to make an interface between the fully blown library and the Smalltalk front end, I would say. Okay, and now the tricky bit because I have to type and hold this thing. Okay, so here we have a standard STX development environment. Well, the resolution is rather small. So do you see the code? Brilliant. Okay, so let's start with creating a Java class. So here we have a bunch of menu items that just put the templates. If you have a Ruby, for example, Ruby support loaded, you will have here, create a Ruby class. But now we are interested in Java class. So here a basic template. And now I have to drop the mic. Well, maybe if there is something I can... Well, if I will try to speak more loudly, and if it won't work, then just tell me, and yeah, I will try to. So, okay, so I'll obviously do a lot of mistakes. So if you spot a mistake, then just correct me, so we don't waste the time on it. Okay, be nice and put the stuff in some package. So let's say stx, so libjava, I don't know, examples, chat, right? Well, we don't have to extend anything, and we call it, I don't know, simple client. Okay, so now we are almost ready. So what we will need is the library connection object. So that's called xmpp connection. And let's make it protected, but it doesn't really matter in this case. Okay, what it complains? Cannot be. Okay, missing import. So let's import it. Where it is? Jive. It's probably here, right? Okay, good. So we have a basic template, and now we have a connect method, right? So public. I can type. Public void connect. It will take 3 strings, like a server, then a username, and then password. Okay, I will make it slightly larger. Okay, and now there is this wordy Java stuff. So first we have to, if I remember correctly, create a connection configuration, which is a new connection configuration. Welcome to Java. Okay, and now set security mode. Well, this is something you kind of have to. The library is designed in a way, so I can't really avoid that. So it's a configuration security mode disabled. Well, don't do it in your application, but for demo, it's kind of okay. I think, hope. And now we can make a connection. So the connection is new XMPP connection with that configuration, right? Okay. Now we have to connect. Very easy. And now what it says. What's wrong with it? Unhandled exception. Another very nice feature of Java. So we have to handle exception. It was an XMPP exception, if I remember correctly. Now the question is what to do here. Well, don't do that in Java code, but okay. What's wrong now?
You're missing a new.
Oh, I see.
But it's an exception, not a connection.
It's exception, of course. You know why I need an hour. Now it's a kind of okay. But the connection itself does not, log in you into the server. So we have to do a connection, authenticate, and we pass a user, a password, and, if I remember correctly, a resource, which is one of the peculiarity of the XMPP. So we'd say that we are in Rosario, aren't we? Okay. Now I press accept. And what's happening here? That's a very bad thing.
He was complaining about something.
No.
No?
I left a breakpoint in the VM. Way too stupid, sorry. Now we are here. Okay. So we kind of compiled that stuff, right? So now we can create an instance of that client. So the client is, now I have to switch to Smalltalk syntax. And what do you see now? It's the interoperability between Java and the language, which is also a big portion of the code which is in there. So this is how we access the Java classes. It was in examples chat, and it was called a simple client, right? And we send it in new. Wow, it's really hard to fit in these small screens. Okay, I made to do it if you don't see it. So here we have an instance of our simple client, sort of facade-like object. Here we see, there is this connection. There's this funny instance variable. Well, let's take it that is the internal implementation detail. We can hide it in the inspector, but we did not anyway. So now, what we can do is that we can say client connect, and we have to pass a server, a username, and a password, if I remember correctly. So the username, the server name is chepimcz, I think. User is a it's a string. Smalltalks 13, and the password is, I think, Rosario. I wasn't very inventive when I... Okay, so this line should connect to the server. So let's just execute it. Oh, and we hit the ground. What's the problem? Unresolved compilation problem. Oh, maybe the method is not called authenticate. But what you see here is that what it says, okay, there is no authenticate method, but we were still able to compile such a code and even run it. And in runtime, it just blows up. But that's how the Smalltalk behaves, right? So there shouldn't be a problem for Smalltalkers. Okay, so we have to change it. I think it's called login. And now I accept the code. And what happened is that on the background, we kind of patch up the existing method and modify the code. But you see, the instance is still there. It's the same instance. That's why there is this 0. There is an identity, kind of identifier for inspector. So it's the same instance. So we change it on the fly. So now let's try to connect. Okay. It's connecting because here you can see, that it loads a bunch of classes. We haven't so far optimized the class loading, so there is a lot of checks and a lot of prints, and basically most of the time is spent in those prints. But it's doing something. It's doing something. So let's wait a bit. No response from the server. Wow. Funny. Let's try again. That's very funny. Well, maybe we are lucky. Brilliant, we got the connection, right? Okay, so that's how I used to work with Smalltalk. Just hack up some prototype and just incrementally fix it. and then eventually write tests. I know that I should write tests beforehand, but yeah. So let's be nice, client, and try to disconnect. That's another basic thing you can try. Disconnect. How is it? Disconnect. That's it. Again, another problem. Message does not understood. Well, that's understandable. We haven't defined disconnect method on that stuff. So obviously we can't disconnect. So let's define one. So let's void this disconnect, and all we have to do, I think, is connection disconnect, and let's be nice to GC and nil it out. Okay, now you see that I accept the code and the new method is there. It appeared. So now, hopefully, we will be able to disconnect. Well, no error so far. Yeah, and the connection is nil. Right? So this is actually something that the Java virtual machine, I mean, the JVM from OpenJDK on Oracle or the Azure JVM or the Terracotta JVM can't do. They hack support for hot replays, so you can, to some extent, change the method body, but you can't change the signature of the method. You can't even change the method body in a way that the maximum stack depth of the method changes. So it's more or less to call a different method, to change a constant. It's very limited. We do not impose any limits. The only limit is what we already hacked in the system. So we were able to disconnect. So far so good. So what's the next step? Next step would be to send a message to somebody. So I am terrible typer, so I pre-typed the Smalltalk code here. So this is the Smalltalk code to send a message. So we create an instance of the message. This is the the library object. We set the destination, and we set the body, and then we ask the client to send this packet for me, so to send this message for me. Well, we haven't written the send method, so let's hack something up. So it's a void send message m, and I think it's simple. It's a connection send. Okay, brilliant. Send packet m, and that's it. Well, it complains another import. Very nice. So let's import package. Okay, here we have a send. So let's create the m, the message. We got something, and now let's send it. Null pointer exception. Well. I disconnect first, yes. Right? Okay, so let's connect again. Are we connected? No. Yeah, we are connected, so let's try to send it. Nothing happens. No. Got it. We got it. Right? Brilliant. Thanks. So we can send a message, but now we need to receive the messages, right? So let's write a support for receiving the messages, and now it's going to be a little bit more tricky, because what we basically need, well, the API is designed in a Java way. So to receive messages, you basically have to register a listener a dependency on some connection object and you get a method which is called each time the message arrived, right? So there is some event loop on background. We can have a look. There are processes. Yeah, so those are these, background listening processes, Java processes that does it for us. So we basically need a protected now. You know why I need a count completion so desperately, right? So where I was, what we need is a protected array list of messages which will keep the set of messages which are not yet processed by the UI. So that's a buffer. That's a buffer. So it's a new array list of a message like that. Okay, so what's wrong here? What's wrong here?
Someone said import.
Some missing import. Oh, class gun. Sorry, that's a problem in the UI. And that's what I am saying, that, we are not... We lose the selection. Oh, I forgot it. We lose the selection in a browser. That was the problem. Okay, so come on. That's some mercurial stuff behind doing this sort of thing. Now, chat window, that's not it. That's not it. We have to go here, and the class is gone. Well, where is my... Where is my class? Guys, help me. I put it here, right? Didn't I? Well, let's try. Funny. The class is there, but I can't see it. Well, that's really funny, sorry. No. Okay, let's try to continue anyway. So, yeah, again, I'll have to copy it. So now it's time that you can laugh. New array list message like this. Now we got it. Brilliant. Okay, so now what happened is that I basically add a new slot, a new field into the existing class. And that's probably the most tricky part of, this living life changes. So if we go here, then this is the old instance we created beforehand, and it still has just the connection. If we create a new one, I hope, well, that's a message, sorry. I need to create a new instance here. Then you will see that in this new instance, there are those new fields. And yeah, that's basically a design decision. We have basically two options, migrate or not to migrate. We said, well, we won't migrate. That's, by the way, how the STX itself behaves. So if you create a new class with one more instance variable, that's basically a new class, and the old instances are not migrated and still keep the old class. So we have obsolete classes, and as soon as all the old instances die out, then there is just one version of the class. Okay, so now what we have to do, so we just add these messages, and in the connection, here we have to register the observer, the listener that will receive and fill the messages buffer. Also, it's a bit wordy, so I will copy it over. Okay, that's the stuff that does it. I'll explain in a second. So you say, I need a packet listener, and now I create an anonymous class. That's a kind of a common idiom in Java, because they have no blocks, so we have to simulate them somehow through the classes. So we have this process packet, and the process packet basically adds the message, the packet, into the buffer. But it does it in a synchronized block, because this particular code is called from the thread which is running on behind, whereas we will be reading the messages from the UI thread, or one of the UI threads. So we should synchronize. In this particular case, it might happen that it will work correctly even with the synchronization, but let's be nice, right? So we add the message, and here, that's another interesting bit, because we need the UI to be somehow notified that the new message arrived. So we have a notification object, and each time we got a message, we just notify everybody who might be interested in the new messages. So that's the purpose of the code. And the rest is just to, register a filter of the type of the messages, because there are multiple different types of messages, and we are not really interested in some, internal connection handling stuff. So that should do it. Compiling, that's Okay, that's also a UI stuff that does it. Should be there. Okay, so here we have to create a new connection. We have to connect Shit, sorry. This is all the UI stuff. This is all the browser stuff that tries to analyze the methods. We don't need that stuff now. Well, the interesting thing is that no matter how many times you try beforehand, the bugs will appear during a presentation. Okay, so connect. Too many arcs in send. Something terribly wrong. Something is terribly wrong. I never seen this before. Okay. I should not debug. So try to connect too many arcs in send. There is something wrong. Okay, let's try again, and let's compile a second version like this. And let's create a new client. Let's connect And that's an unresolved compilation problem. That might be the source of the problem, even though it should not be. So it's in filter, I think. So yeah, try to connect. Hopefully we are connected. Why it takes so long? Maybe the network is slow, or I don't know.
It is.
Okay then. So we are connected, and the client is the new instance. So we send a new message, like hello. Okay, there is another, and we say hola. And now what should happen is that a new message packet should be in the messages instance variable somewhere. So let's inspect the messages. Oh, we have something. So a packet arrived. Let's send another one. So now there should be 2 packets. If we have a look in here, and let's type it in Smalltalk, self get from. So we get, who sent the message. That's my ID, and we might say, let's get body. It's hola. Where's the space? Well, so we are able to receive messages. Good. We need an API. The next step is to have a simple API to pick the messages which are interested for the UI. So let's define a void. No, it has to be a message. Message receive string from. And this method it's supposed to return the first packet that arrived from this particular guy and remove it from the queue. So we know that it's processed. Well, again, we have to be synchronized. So I will copy it over. So that's it. So here we have the method, right? We are synchronized on messages, so there is no, race condition. And we basically iterate through the messages. And the first one in which the, sender matches, we return it and remove it from the collection. If there is none, we just return no. Maybe not the best API. Should not really matter in this case. So let's create this method, and now let's give it a try. So let's call receive from myself, and we got the packet. There should be 2 packets, so now we should get the second packet, and if we do it third time, it should return nil because there is nothing. So I hope you believe that to some extent it works, right? Okay, so that's the API. And there is the last bit in this facade class is basically the blocking call that will block the caller until the message until some message arrives. And that's for what we needed the message notifier here, if you remember. So here we define, let's say, a void await, and it has to be public indeed. Await, which basically do just a message notifier wait, right? But in Java, it's not that simple. You know, in Java, the code is a bit more wordy, so I will again copy it out. So that's the Java version of the code. I kind of like that pattern that you have to catch the interrupted exception, but there is really nothing to do in the handler. So this is basically one of the very few examples when you have to write an empty catch block, and it's considered to be a good practice, which is usually not. But in this case, they somehow mandate. I kind of like it. That's how they design it, anyway. So we have this await. Now, let's just make it, just try it. Well, we are not getting any more messages, so we do client await. And then I do now an inspect. So it should block, and the moment I enter the message in the other client, and I send a message, the inspector should pop up. Let's try. So we are blocked. We are blocked here. So let's try here. Well, I lost the window. Oh, no. Again. Brilliant. Got it. Okay, so now we have pretty much all the bits that are needed to make the UI. So let's make the UI. So there should be a class, a chat. Is it there? Okay. I preloaded the classes because you are probably not interested in how to program UI code in STX. Everybody know how to work out a UI in Smalltalk. So I'll just fill in a few methods and the rest is there. So the first is we have to implement, I should left the stubs there. We have to implement a connect. Okay, so we have to implement a menu connect. Menu connect is, well, that's pretty much that code. It's pretty much this. No. It's this code without the disconnect. Without the disconnect. Okay. Well, so try it out. So let's say connect to well, that's the old code. I'm using the old class. Sorry. That's the old buggy class that gets somehow messed compiled. But I wanted to start it. Just make it always on top. So I can do a connect, and then I hope I'm connected. I hope I'm connected. So, well, no, not yet. The UI is dead. We are not yet connected. I wonder whether it's... And we have to implement it is connected. Okay, so is connected. Client is connected. And the client is our facade class. Well, I forgot to implement it, so just make it simple. I don't want to waste the time now. So we are connected, and now we have a chat with. So let's chat with me, indeed. And we have to implement this chat with. So a chat with would be body and oh shit, sorry guys, that's a chat with, and we have to basically open the chat window which is prepared for that case. Chat window new, and well, now I have to look what is the API. Okay, I have to set the body, I have to set the client, and then open the window, I think. So client is a client. This is our interface class. Body is body. That's the string. That's it. And just open it. So that should make it. Well, we have a debugger somewhere. Okay, let's chat with again. Okay, and here we have this window. So we are here, and we have to implement. I have to look. Sorry. Messages holder. We have to implement send message. Okay. So let's put it here. It doesn't really matter. Send. And the send message is pretty much the code we have here. So just create a local variable. This is our body. So we do self body holder value. That's the guy, and the body is a self message holder value. Okay, and now we say just a client, please send this message. Continue. Okay, so we are talking with this guy. So let's try to send him a message. Hola again. Let's and now I'm getting lost in my windows. Which one it was? This one? No. This one. Okay, hola again. Right? Blah 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 blah. We got the blah 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 blah. Brilliant. But we need to show the replies in the upper text pane. So let's do this. And now it's a little bit tricky because we have to wait for the message in another thread. So, sorry? Few minutes. Okay. I'm not going to.
Well, how long does it take?
Well, given that okay, let's give me a few minutes more.
Right.
Okay.
It's just a noise.
Okay, so I need a browser. Where is my browser? The screen is just so small. Chat window. So what we do is we define a common post open message. And the UI framework, whenever once the window is ready, it calls this hook, and you can do whatever you want. That's a post initialization kind of thing. So here, what we do, we set up a reader process that will just fill in the text pane. So reader is a new process, fork. And what we will do now is we'll just loop forever. And in this loop, what we will do, we will just, we just do a client await. And now we create a temporary variable for the message. And here we will do a message is a client receive a self buggy holder value, and while that's the message, and if it's not nil, while true. So while there are messages for myself, I just do, and I hope I remember correctly the code, conversation, next put all a message, get body. Right? So that should do it. Okay, which one is alive? This one is dead. No. They are both alive. That's chat with. Well, I will close this one. Well, I haven't implemented something. Client does not understand await because that's the old client. Okay, close this one. Way too much Windows. Abort. I should have terminate. I should have cleaned up my workspace before trying this. Okay. Hola. Where is this? Hello. Well, no.
The text did appear.
Sorry?
The text did appear.
Oh, it appeared here. Brilliant. Well, you should set it in a way that you can't, position a cursor somewhere into the rubbish position anyway. So that's basically it. That's the very basic client implemented in what I call the Smalltalk way. I don't know how many time do I have, but obviously let's make me a few more notes if you don't mind. When I was talking about this kind of stuff with Andres, he made the point correctly that there are some, very tricky bits if you want to make these dynamic updates correctly. In spite of that, you have, correctly ordered the method additions and deletions in spite of, inheritance and overloads and interfaces and these kind of things. I agree, but I said it depends what's your goal. If your aim is to provide a robust environment which you can use to program a Mars rover and be able, to patch the Mars rover from the Earth while the Mars rover is still fighting whatever creatures might be on the Mars and still be sure that everything is, from the Java point of view correct, then it's pretty hard. I actually doubt it's at all possible. On the other hand, if the whole goal is to provide a nice-to-use interactive environment for development, you might be much more relaxed. So we are much more relaxed about these kind of things. And if this environment is targeted to the Smalltalk audience, well, that's fun because, Smalltalkers are used to work in an environment, and cutting the branch on which they are sitting, and they are perfectly happy with it. So, yeah, we are relaxed about these kind of things. Still, there is a lot of, small little details and tricky bits, especially to make this multi-version support for classes. That was very tricky. I prepared a couple of slides more, but they are very, very technical, and I already run out of my time, so let's just skip it. Back to the original question, could Java possibly be fun? Well, it's up to you to decide. I personally think it could be a lot of fun, and we had a lot of fun hacking up these environments and these things, even though it's not yet perfect. So it's up to you to decide. Well, if you want to give it a try, you can download it, you can play with it, you can even submit bugs. I would love to see that somebody is playing with this. So, any questions?
So, let's do and 1, 2, maybe questions.
Well, there was a question from Esteban.
Yes.
Which version of Java do you implement which level of compatibility?
We say, okay, for now, OpenJDK 6 is the reference implementation or the reference class library we use. On the other hand, we have regular builds that uses OpenJDK on both Linux and Windows, OpenJDK 6, Oracle JDK 6, OpenJDK 7, Oracle JDK 7, and OpenJDK 8. All of them except the OpenJDK 8 runs. But we are using, for everyday usage, we're using the OpenJDK 6 library, so there might be differences in the native methods. So, yeah, but I think this example will work on the Oracle JDK 7 as well. Any other question?
Yeah, so when you create a new method and you version the class, you have obviously the files and stuff. Does this work if you have like background stuff running? I mean,
Sorry.
Reddit. Is Reddit safe or how does
Well, it does work in pretty much the same way how the Smalltalk works. So if it does work for Smalltalk, it does work for this. We don't do any fancy things that other guys do, like that they stop all threads on a save point. They do the atomic updates, and they just because it's a lot of work, and we don't have it in Smalltalk, so it should not harm that much. But we can do it. We can do it. You think so? I don't really think so. Because, for example, in STX, it uses one main event loop. And there is one secondary event loop processing events for one window. So there is basically a process per window plus many more. I think it's comparable. But so far we use it, and we started like 100 Java threads, and it kind of worked. So, yeah.
Thank you, Jan.
You are the boss, you can have it.